Hi, I'm Dave Wood with Petron Plus Lubes, distributors for Petron Plus Global Lubrication products. Today I'm going to demonstrate 3 significant things that can happen to an engine or a machine that could be detrimental to your equipment and that you want to try to avoid. One is going to be shock to the engine, as if you were stuck in mud or snow or sand or whatever and you were going forward and backward, or towing something heavy or pushing something and shocking that engine. Another one is total loss of lubrication, no oil whatsoever. And the third one will be contamination, getting something in the oil like antifreeze or water or something like that that could be harmful to the engine. So I suggest that you watch the first video where I went on wear and friction and how the supplement can drastically reduce wear and friction on your engine, because I'm not going to repeat all of the way I got to this point. I'm going to start here to save time. I have the Timken bearing machine, and as you can see I have a new bearing on the test jig, and which is right here. And I've already mixed some of the purple oil that we used before with some Petron. So I'm going to turn the machine on, and you can see that I have a nice bead of lubrication going on there, and I already have the jig set up to go in. So I'm going to go on here, put this in on the machine and get it started. Give it a little bit of time to get some lubrication on both bearings. Now we know from before that it only took about 3 weights to stop the machine with just the regular motor oil. And let me tell you, it doesn't really matter what motor oil you use. I've tested almost all of them and all the leading brands, and they all work about the same. It takes about 3 weights to stop it. Remember, the weights are about a little less than a pound each. When if I get all 24 weights on, I got 22.2 pounds hanging on there, in excess of 150,000 psi, closer to 200,000 psi on that bearing. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add the 3 weights that it took to stop the machine with just regular oil. And so now I'm going to add, some more weight, except this time I'm going to kind of drop them on there. And that would be sort of a shocking the engine kind of thing if you were towing. So I now have 6 weights on there. That's twice as many weights as it took before to even stop the machine. We'll add 3 more. I know you can't see it very well, but every time I drop one of those, it really shocks that arm and gives that bearing a real hit as far as PSI goes. So I now have 9 weights on there. That's 3 times as many. And 12. 4 times as many. 13. 14. And 15. So 15 weights. Let's see. It took 3 to start with to stop it with regular oil. 15, that's 5 times as much weight on there right now. It's a tremendous amount of pressure being applied to that bearing. 16, 17, 18. And you can hear, I think you can hear that there's not a significant amount of difference in sound, on that bearing. So 15, 16, 17, no, that's 21 actually, missed my count. Or 19, 20, and 21. Okay, so there's 21. So that is 7 times as many weights as it was on there before. And like I said, I'm shock loading this on here. I'm running out of space to drop them. But there's all 24 weights on there, shock loaded on that bearing. And like I said, there's not a significant amount of difference in the sound, and it's still running with the Petron in there. So we'll stop this off. And sorry I have to turn my back to you, but to get this off here, I got to turn my back and get this off. And the weights are heavy, so what I'm going to do now is we'll look at this wear mark on here with that so far. And you can see that the wear mark with all that time it was running with 24 weights is not very large. Okay? So, now I'm going to move that bearing around a little bit to get to a new spot. It's unused. About right there should do it. And I'm going to put this back on here. Get the machine running again here. Let's get that on there, and you can see I can put the weights down on that thing. And now we've done the shock treatment. Now we'll just remove the oil altogether and see what happens. See how long it'll run without any oil. See what goes on here. Okay. So now that's like you lost all your oil. You didn't get your filter on right, or your drain plug fell out. Believe me, that's happened to people. It's happened to my son one time where he lost all his oil. And he also has an excavation company, and one of his bulldozers just recently lost all of its hydraulic fluid, hydraulic oil. Fortunately, he had Petron hydraulic oil in there, and when the machine finally stopped running, he thought it was going to cost him about $9,000 or more for that pump, but he put fresh oil back in there, and the dozer has been running fine ever since. So the investment in the hydraulic oil for his machine significantly saved him a lot of money. So it's now running without any oil, and it's starting to get hot enough. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a significant amount of smoke coming off that thing right now. I have a infrared thermometer here, so let's see if we can, that's in centigrade, but in Fahrenheit there. Right there where that bearing is running, we're at 264 degrees, 265, 270. So that bearing right there is plenty hot, plenty above boiling, and still running with no oil in the crankcase, or no crankcase. So, and that is getting plenty hot. We're at 293 right there, 295, almost 300 degrees. That bearing is running right now, and it's smoking like crazy. Okay? So, that test is pretty significant. Now let's stop this off. And that thing is really hot, so I'm going to take this bearing off of here again, lift this up, remove this jig, and try not to get burned. I'm going to wipe this off, and we'll put this under the camera here and see what we see. And there's the wear mark with no oil whatsoever. And again, it is pretty small compared to what it was when I demonstrated just oil alone, and what the wear was like on that and the friction. So, pretty impressive. All right, so I'm not going to turn the wear mark this time. We're just going to go on the same spot, see what happens. But I'm going to put this back on here. Oh, that baby's hot. Get that on there. I'm going to put the crankcase back on again. Get us some lubricant in there again. Okay. And we're going to start this thing and get a little lube going there. Again, I'm sorry that I have to turn my back to you, but I have to kind of get the machine going here. So the third piece of this demonstration talks about contamination, as if we lost a head gasket or a cracked head. And I'm going to shoot some 50-50 antifreeze in there, which is what most people have in their cars and trucks. And get that going in there. That's quite a bit. And we'll just let that run. And now we have antifreeze has gotten into our system, which we all know, or we should know, is not good. Antifreeze does have some chemicals in it that can be corrosive or detrimental to an engine. It is kind of an oil-based product, but still, it's not one of those things you want to have in your engine or water or any other kind of foreign material in there. So you can see it's running now, and it has the antifreeze in there. Believe it or not, it will get so hot that it will actually boil that. And that's when I get a little nervous, because my little crankcase here is made out of plastic, and the glue that is holding that together, I'm never quite sure when it gets that hot if that thing is going to come apart on me. So I always get a little nervous when this thing starts to boil. But it'll also start to smoke in there. You can also hear, I think you can hear that the sound of the bearing is not a whole lot greater than what it was when it was running with no oil, and now it's running with contaminated oil. So we'll give this just a few minutes, and while it's doing that, let me just invite you to go to our website, petronpluslubes.com. There's a lot of information on that website, as well as links that will take you to petronplusglobal.com. And there's the site you really want to go to get some information to read about this. So if you have any questions, you can contact us directly through email, which is on our website. And these demonstrations, obviously you're seeing them probably on the website. And so, and remember that Petron Plus has many, many, many types of lubrication. They also have probably the finest weapon oil that you can buy. And I'm going to do a demonstration on their weapon oil sometime. So look forward to that too. But the weapon oil, if you have a gun that jams or has any issues, you put Petron weapon oil on it and it probably won't jam again. So, matter of fact, we have friends of ours that have guns that are jamming, and they got some of the weapon oil, and last time I spoke to them, their gun has not jammed since. The temperature right there is 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 310, 303, right there at that joint. I know you can't see the number, you'll just have to trust me that I'm telling you the truth there, that's how hot that is, right there at that joint. And I think in just a very short period of time, like right now, you're going to see that stuff start to boil, because it is coming up to temperature. It's at 300, that's 309 right in there, and it's smoking now, and I think you can see the boiling, and it's flashing out, and I'm going to quit because, and you can hear it and you can see it, that's hot. And I hope that my little plastic crankcase holds up because this is like, that's hot. So to make things easier, so I don't really get this stuff splashed on me, I'm going to take some of these weights off. Now remember, this thing was running with 24 weights on the whole time, and with antifreeze in there. Now believe it or not, I haven't shown this, but I tried one day. I sprayed brake fluid in there once, and even the brake fluid didn't stop it. But that's not something you want to, that you normally get in your engine. So sorry, I have to turn my back again, and this thing is hot. I'm going to take this off carefully and wipe this off without burning myself. We'll put that down there, and we'll see what the wear mark looks like. You can see it's grown a little bit, but you know what? That is pretty impressive, I've got to say. You know, every time I do these demonstrations, I'm always impressed with what happens here, because there's nothing that I've tested or seen to compare with this, what it does. So that demonstration pretty significantly shows you that shocking the engine, loss of lubrication altogether, and even contamination will still protect your engine significantly from damage. So that wraps this one up, and so until the next one, keep oiling, keep lubricating, keep thinking about Petron Plus lubricants, and I will see you next time.